Okay, so we are recording, just so you guys are aware. Thank you guys again for coming. We'll go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to introduce our three panelists today. We have Taya. Taya is a junior double majoring in communication studies and Spanish. Her most recent internship was with the Creative Process, Traveling Exhibition and International Education Initiative, where she worked closely on interviews with creative leaders. And then we have Karina. Karina is a senior studying health sciences with a minor in biology. Her most recent and current internship is with the Children's Legal Center, which is a nonprofit immigration law firm that helps families and minors who are victims of crime. And last but not least, we have Maeve. Maeve is currently a senior graduating this quarter. She's an organizational communication major with a minor in marketing. And her most recent internship was being the marketing coordinator at an art exhibition space called Salon LB, where she just got hired full-time. So thank you guys for joining. And we'll just jump right into question number one. I know I kind of gave a good overview of your names, majors, and what you're working on. But can you briefly describe your roles and responsibilities for your internship that you most recently had, or any other that you might think might be relevant to the students here today? And you can just unmute yourself, and whoever wants to go first can go ahead.
I can start. So my roles kind of revolved around, like my role was labeled associate podcast producer and interviewer. And so I was working closely with the founder of the Creative Process, Mia Funk, to produce and edit interviews that she has with creative leaders. And like, for example, interviews I worked on were with Paul Hirsch, who was an Academy Award-winning film editor for Star Wars and Carrie, and like 1976, and Tanner Woodford, director of the Design Museum of Chicago. I just helped Mia co-host an interview with Sarah Paretsky, who is a native Chicago author, and it was a great experience to be exposed to like creative people like that. And my position was kind of focused around gathering everything that they were saying into like concise highlight reels, while also being able to add my personal take on it in like a creative interlude. And in addition to that, I was able to plan social media posts and contribute my personal creative works to be shared on the Creative Process's Medium platform. And just working closely with Mia and other interns in even like student interviews. And yeah, there was a lot. So yeah.
I guess I can go second. As Libby mentioned, my name is Karina Serna, and I am interning at Children's Legal Center. And my main role as an intern, since I speak Spanish, I am one of the main interpreters for 4 attorneys, and I help assist interpretations, translations of documents, and attend court hearings, or assist some of our clients if they have like in-person meetings with us, or since COVID is going on now, majority of our meetings and conferences are via Zoom or over the phone. And since we focus a lot on families that are victims of crime, a lot of our clients are victims of human trafficking, rape, minors that come to the US without company, and other forms of violence. So a lot of it is like psychological evaluations that we help interpret for. And as Theodora, sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right, but it's just a lot is woven into the position that I have.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can, yeah.
I know previously I like realized I was talking when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm completely talking over. I'm Maeve. My past internships have been in marketing, which isn't even my major. What I was saying earlier is that I think it's kind of funny how you just kind of fall into roles that you didn't even expect to do. That's actually why I changed my minor to marketing, was because of my like internship experience. So I used to intern at Evolve Her, which is kind of like a WeWork space, but more specifically catered towards women. And then my most recent internship is at an art exhibition space. So I'm their marketing coordinator. When it first started, I was mostly doing like social media, kind of like connecting with artists on their online galleries. So I would like reach out to Chicago artists and kind of help them get involved. So kind of like communications and marketing. And then I started, they launched an online website with an online gallery. So I help them with like their Shopify, which is like just setting up basically the website. And then I do the email coordinating. So I basically come up with like the templates for all of our emails, help like with our email list, and I do a little bit of paid advertising with them too. So yeah, it kind of developed over time. It just started off as social media and just kind of was supposed to be like a 3-month, like seeing where I was at. And now it's gonna be my full-time job.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. What steps did you take and what was the application process like to get your internship?
So I was searching for remote fall internships in general on Handshake. And I remember at the time I was interested in podcasting. And so I found this one, but there was no application on Handshake. It just had the like requirements and what kind of people they were looking for. And so I was just browsing their website for a long time, and it intrigued me a lot. So I just decided to email them because they had a contact page that was like, oh, if you want to get involved, shoot us an email and we'll see how you can collaborate with us. So I shot them an email expressing my interest, and they sent me a sort of application of approximately 5 questions to answer in a narrative style format. And they were kind of creative questions, like how do you define storytelling, I think was one of them. And then after that, I got an interview with the founder, Mia Funk. And at the end of the interview, she like laid out the details and I got the position. So that was kind of my process. It wasn't really just like through an application on Handshake.
In my case, it was kind of weird because I wasn't necessarily looking for an internship at the time, but it was when COVID hit and I was a student employee for DePaul and we were all just like jobless. So I was actually scrolling through one of my Facebook groups, which is like a Latinx community group where people post opportunities and just information about different jobs or just like community events that one can attend. And one of, it's actually a friend of mine that made the post that is a law clerk for the law firm that I'm now interning at. And I reached out to her and I asked for information about like what they did and their mission. And I was a little concerned because I am a science major. And as Maeve mentioned, like it kind of deviated away from like my main course of study. But like I was very interested in giving back to communities that are considered minorities and are represented through society. So then I sent in my resume. I had an interview with the main attorney that leads Children's Legal Center and the law clerk, which happened to be my friend.
I had a similar experience, which I feel like this might be confusing for you guys because yeah, it's not always like, not that you can't find things on Handshake, but my experience has never been like linear. So my internship, I started in August of this 2020. I wasn't looking for an internship. I'd already had one, not that it's bad to have multiple, but I wasn't looking for one. And my old boss for my past internship reached out to me and was like, hey, like, I know, just wondering if you're looking for any kind of work right now. Like, I have someone that is looking for someone potentially like full-time who's one of her clients, but they would like start you off in like an intern position and then kind of go from there. So yeah, mine was not something I was looking for, but it, I guess, is relevant because I got the job from a boss at my previous internship. And that internship, I also got really oddly, I saw a girl I had a class with at DePaul my freshman year, always like making stories at her internship on Instagram. And I always thought like it looked like a really cool space. And I just was curious like what it was and what she was doing. And we talked about it. And then when sophomore year came, I just reached out to her and was like, hey, do you know if this place that was called DePaul is hiring for interns, like how that works? Because I would always like check their website and never had anything up. And she was like, they aren't now, but they will be in a couple of months. So then they made like an official listing on their website, and I applied there, and I didn't hear back for months and like months. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not get it. And so I followed up, and then they responded that they were like just going through applications. So yeah, mine was literally just a girl that I was friends with in class, and I just thought what she was doing looked really cool. So yeah.
I don't know if she's frozen for anyone else, or is it just me? Okay, I think you're good now. Okay, sorry if it's my internet. I can't tell sometimes the joys of remote work, but thank you guys so much for sharing. We're gonna skip panelists just down to the, for the sake of time, question number 5. What resources, if any, did you use on campus that have benefited your career path, whether it's with internship or not? Just kind of what you guys used on campus, if anything.
I used there's a scholarship option for unpaid internships, which I was able to apply for and get some money from, which was really convenient. And I also was in a communication internship course. So if you're in the College of Communications, you can take an internship course along with your internship, and it counts for academic credit, and it helps you navigate and take advantage of your internship experience. And I did that this past fall quarter.
I also received the Internship Plus scholarship, and it honestly helped a lot for someone that didn't have a job, and I've always struggled to pay for school. But I guess a thing that's like non-related to the whole internship process is the library and the workers that are like literally in the middle of the Lincoln Park library to help you find books, articles, or whatever that it is that you need for if whatever class that you need resources for.
I also did the communication internship course. So that helps kind of like walk through and like do check-ins. It kind of helps you like talk to your quote unquote mentor at your internship and like do check-ins with them and like evaluate how it's going. And then I also used, I forget like specifically career center, there's like a resume help you can fill out. So they kind of just, I've done it a couple times actually. But I had originally done it when I was applying to internships. So you send your resume in and have them go through it like over the phone, or they can email you back, or you can go in person, just to kind of like, I had no idea where to begin freshman year. So I've always gone back to get resume help when I'm applying.
Awesome, thank you. Question number 6, what has been the biggest challenge and biggest reward in your internship?
So the biggest challenge for me, I would say, was the amount of autonomy that my supervisor gave me with my tasks, which I wasn't used to, because in school we're used to due dates and like organizing our time kind of around when something needs to get done by. And I'm someone that works well under pressure, so I've kind of been able to like get all my assignments done because of due dates. So not having a due date was something that was different and difficult for me. But I think that with help from the internship course, which required 10 hours a week or 8 to 10 hours a week at your internship, that kind of helped me get all my tasks done in a reasonable amount of time and return them back. And then I think a reward would be just being able to find an internship that I actually enjoyed, and like to contribute to an organization that encourages creativity and supports it in all fields. Like they have a bunch of interviews with political scientists and physicists too, which I think is really cool to like acknowledge the creativity that there are in STEM fields as well. So I think that's kind of the biggest reward. And me and my supervisor have been able to form a really good relationship. And so, yeah, really enjoyed it.
One of the main challenges that I would say is because we are a law firm that helps victims of crime, a lot of the stories are very intense and graphic. And I myself am pretty good with like receiving information and being empathetic and not letting my emotions get the best of me. But I think the main challenge was finding time to debrief and care about my mental health while not letting all the trauma and all the pain that these clients are going through impact my own mental health, because at some time I was struggling with like my past traumas and similar events that happened to me that connected to the client's story. And I felt very discouraged to continue the work. But then I felt alleviated in the sense that I remembered the why I was doing the work that I do. And as a child of immigrants and surrounded by a lot of immigrant families, there's a lot of beauty and power supporting the community of immigrants. And as someone that was striving to go to medical school, I have definitely changed paths. And like I realized that the law needs a lot of reform, and I love helping those that, one, they don't speak the language that we speak here in America, and two, they fear being judged or they aren't supported as they should be. And I guess a success is me realizing what I want to do with my life, because as a student at DePaul coming in, I changed my major. I was struggling finding out what I actually wanted to do. And I decided to be a science major because I love science and in general. But then again, I figured out what I want to do, if that makes sense.
That was awesome. I think for me, like what was said earlier was, yeah, just basically I wasn't used to having this much responsibility and like not having any kind of due dates. Like it's just more up to you. I was really worried about that at first. And I remember kind of saying something to one of my other intern, and she was like, I think it's just taking control, taking responsibility, just to see like how you can kind of handle that pressure, which is a little bit dramatic. It wasn't like that stressful, but yeah, I just am always used to having due dates, so it was kind of weird, like having it all kind of like up to me. So I just wasn't used to kind of, yeah, that kind of experience where it's not so structured. I guess the perfect way to describe it is just kind of no structure. Like they want to see what you can kind of create out of it. But at the same time, that was really rewarding. And I think that kind of goes into what you kind of get out of it is I think it's unique to DePaul are going to be so much more like a real world experience. I think compared to a lot of my friends at other colleges, like being in a big city just literally gives you so many more opportunities. And the work that you're going to be doing is usually going to be like really, they will ask you, what do you kind of like want to learn? What do you want to expand on? It's not so much like you're given roles that you don't really care about. So I think that's what's like really cool about DePaul and about being in Chicago is your jobs like actually, and it's going to be work that
To you guys, what is the most, or what is the importance of having internships as part of your undergraduate experience, other than maybe, fulfilling a requirement or credit hours or something along those lines? What's the importance of having internships?
I think the biggest thing for me, at least, is like actually implementing and applying the skills that I've learned in my classes, especially as a communication student. Like being able to identify and execute certain things is a lot different than just learning about it. So I think that's definitely something I look forward to doing even in future internships as well.
As previously mentioned, internships just allow you to figure yourself out and put your feet in the water, or whatever that weird saying is. Because if you just stick to your major and like keep learning all this information in your classes, but you're not necessarily like she just mentioned practicing the skills and the methods that you learn, then you don't really get to see them in action and see if it's actually something that you enjoy doing. So internships are just a way to get out into the real world or whatever and learn how to apply the skills that you have learned and just figure yourself out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like it's just, there's no better, this is like so cheesy, but there's no better way to like quote unquote test the waters. Like you're really not going to know what it's like. You can learn about it. And I was in classes before where I thought I loved what I was learning, and then actually doing it in real life, I was like, whoa, I actually do not like this. I don't really enjoy this kind of work. So I think for me, it's just the best way to know if you actually enjoy something, then you can see like what you do and you don't like. And also, I know it's probably also annoying, you constantly hear it, but networking, like it's the best way to build relationships. Even if you don't think you're going to stay in Chicago, like I plan on moving, but it's nice that I worked with people who have worked in like almost every major city here. So it's like you kind of have those connections, and it seems like you won't really like stay in, but I think most people, you will stay in touch. Like it was shocking to me how much my old bosses or people that I worked with still reach out to me. And it was all of my future job opportunities after those internships were because of my internships. So I think that, yeah, it's just the best way to build those like cheesy, long lasting relationships, but it's really true.
Great, thank you guys. One last question. What piece of advice would you give to your fellow students looking for internships?
I would say find something that you actually want to enjoy, instead of just like seeking an internship just to have an internship on your resume. Because in the end, if you don't care about the internship before you start it and you don't care throughout, then you're not really gaining as much as you could be gaining if you do actually try to immerse yourself and you look for something you like, you look for something that you're looking forward to, and something that like motivates you to do it every day. So I think that would be my biggest advice to give. Just don't do it just to do it, just for the resume, do it for yourself also.
I completely blanked on the question. Can you repeat that for me?
No worries. Yeah, I just said, what piece of advice would you give to your fellow students looking for internships?
Okay. I guess don't be scared to do something that is outside of your major. As I mentioned, I am a science major and I'm like considering doing law now. Well, I am gonna do law now. So it's kind of just, school itself is just a way to gain more information and learn about yourself, learn about different information available to you. And the workforce can be definitely a lot different than what you're studying for. And of course, a lot of the jobs out in the world do require some educational background. But at the end of the day, if it's something, what you are studying doesn't determine what you're going to end up doing in life. So definitely just don't be scared to step outside of your major.
I think I would say don't be afraid to explore like non-conventional ways to getting an internship. So Handshake is a really great resource. I've had things come out of Handshake that were awesome for me, and it's laid out really nice. I think it's a really good resource. But also, like if you just know a company or a business in Chicago that you're interested in, like instead of reached out to something that they were interested in, kind of like pitched themselves and like proposed an internship basically, and they like made a role for them, or like they talked about like a position they had like 6 months to come or so. But yeah, I just would always look at websites. Do not like, you might not always own website. There's no harm in reaching out just to be like, hey, I'm really interested in you guys, curious to see like what opportunities you would have, because a lot of times you'll actually get really good feedback and good responses.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and being our panelists. A little round of applause. I really appreciate it. If anyone has maybe like 1 or 2 questions, we have like 2 minutes left. If anyone has questions for the panelists, I'll also put in the chat the Internship Plus link that a few of them were talking about for the unpaid internships that's offered quarterly. And that'll be provided in a follow-up email, I believe. But thank you all so much for coming, and feel free to stick around for a question or 2, or you can head back to the main room to go to the next session.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your internship stories.
So once again, if you guys don't have questions, you can click the leave room in the bottom, and we'll see you back in the main room. And if panelists, if they want to stick around for just a quick second.